Hi everybody, it's Rexanna with Garden of Herbs, TX for Texas. Today we're in my kitchen and it's looking like I got a lot of junk on my counter, but it's not junk. It is actually some beautiful and wonderful vegetables, herbs, and just food. What we're doing is we're gonna get ready and we are gonna make some fire cider. And it's kind of a misty, cloudy day out there, but it's a beautiful temperature outside. But we are getting ready just in case something comes along down the road. You never know. A cough, a cold, maybe you're just not feeling really well. And so that's what we're doing today in the kitchen. We are preparing some fire cider, which will boost our immune system. And just before we get started, I would like to give a little history about fire cider. Back when I was just a little girl, Rosemary Gladstar rescued this recipe. If you look in some of her early books, she has a great recipe for fire cider. For people like me, she is still legendary to this day. Rosemary Gladstar, she was raised, I guess, in the late 60s, early 70s. When you read any of her books, she has great recipes. And I start with some of her recipes and I kind of add to, because some of the herbs that they used back then are still being used today. But like this recipe will have something a little bit different in that she did not use in her recipe, but she actually rescued this recipe. It was something that was done back before her time, but they tried to do away with this recipe because it is so good. It has helped so many people. It kickstarts your immune system. It detoxes your immune system. It is actually considered a food instead of like a medicine, because it's got food and herbs in mixed with it. And there's not just one basic recipe, although her recipe is famous because she's the one that basically saved the recipe. And she went to court and fought for this recipe. But you can add the recipe that I'm going to share with you. You can add and take away, because different things that people have, like if you have an autoimmune disorder, you can add it and take away from different things that you may have. For instance, I've added, when I very first became an herbalist, I didn't like the recipe, and I changed it and I used all dried herbs the very first year that I became an herbalist. Before I became an herbalist, I wasn't even really, I was just a family herbalist. I didn't have a certificate or anything like that. And lots of people that aren't technically herbalist, they make it in their own kitchen for their own families every single year around this time. And what they do is they add their own flavor, they add their own twist, and they take away and they add different stuff every year and make it to their family's liking. And you know, that's what you're supposed to do. So you can follow this recipe. If you like this recipe, great, you can use it and then change it next year or do whatever you want to do. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to add my own twist. I'm adding some stuff this year that I didn't do last year. Last year, I made a very small batch. My husband is kind of having to be forced to do this because he doesn't think, you know, that this is really for him. But this year he's going to take it. The year before he did take it, it's like every other year he takes it. So without further ado, we'll get started. And I normally make a bigger jar. I normally make a giant jar like this, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to split my recipe with my daughter-in-law. So I'm going to make 2 of these quart jars. These are my cheaper jars because I don't want to use, when I get done, I don't want to, these will just be fine, is what I'm trying to say. So if you have some of your more expensive jars, you are welcome to use those. Or these right here are just fine. Your golden harvest jars is what I'm trying to say. Okay, what I've done, the very first thing that you want to start with is I'm going to put in half of an onion, and just excuse me because I am going to do this in 2 jars. You can use your 1 big jar if that's what you want to do, and you can modify this. I use a yellow onion, but it looks white, but I don't know why that is. The outside of it looked yellow. So you can cut it up big, you can dice it up. I think the smaller, the better. And I should have got my, I don't know if I have, yay. Let's see. I don't know if I have my, this makes it easier to go in. Yes. Okay. Now this next one is according, I have been told this last year that I have an autoimmune disorder. Now I'm taking care of my autoimmune disorder. There's lots of autoimmune disorders out there. And I have checked with my doctor. And so some people can use ginger, some people can't use ginger. Or I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spice. This is for blood thinners. People who have a blood thinning are on blood thinners. So be careful about your ginger. This right here, ginger is fine if you have an autoimmune disorder. But I'm using, the recipe calls for a half a cup of ginger, and I'm putting fresh ginger in, and I'm also going to use some dehydrated ginger. And the reason I'm using dehydrated and I'm also using a little bit of fresh is because I want to get rid of my dehydrated, and I also want to get rid of my fresh. So I'm using just like a thumb's worth of fresh, and then I want to use about a third, split it into my 2 jars. Okay, now what I was going to talk about is the garlic. Now the garlic, I used 4 cloves because I wanted to do, it only calls for 3 cloves of garlic. You can dice them, you can buy the pre-diced, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. That'd be like 2 tablespoons for each jar, or 4 cloves. It's totally up to you. Now the antiviral and the antibacterial properties for this is just totally awesome. I love garlic. There are some people that do not like garlic at all. I'm a garlic lover, so I will just put a lot of garlic. I'm putting in lemon. If you have grated up lemon peel, or I'm going to use the whole lemon, and I'm going to squeeze some lemon. I think lemon is very detoxing. I think it's very good for you. I love lemon. Now this next herb, I have fresh rosemary out of my garden. And these sprigs, you can take the whole thing and just put it in there. I don't see why not. Let me take my scissors. That one is real woody. I think this is going to make everything look really pretty. Rosemary has a lot of antimicrobial properties, and it's just going to be really good to go in there. It's just, I'll link my common household herbs recipe. I think household, I forget the exact name of it. My common household, 5 common household herbs or something like that. I forget the name of my own video. Now this is just some dried that I had in a jar. It's organic rosemary. I'm just going to try to get rid of it. I've had it a while and I just want to get rid of it. If you have some spices that you know that you want to, like there's just a tiny bit left, go ahead and throw it in your fire cider. If you have just a little bit of rosemary left, put it in your fire cider. You can tell the difference of how green that rosemary is. And you can tell this rosemary is like, there's almost no color left. Just throw it in your fire cider. It'll kind of liven it up. Okay, so the garlic. Okay, now there's a quart of, you have to have a fresh quart of the raw apple cider vinegar. And you want to make sure to get the mother. Now we're going to use the whole quart. So you might just want to get it ready. And I'm terrible with a knife. But you don't want to pour it in until last. This next ingredient is, now if you have an elderberry tree or elderberry bush, awesome. Go pick you some, pause this, go pick you some elderberries. What we're going to do is we're going to get a half a cup to a half a cup of fresh and a half a cup to a whole cup of dried. And I have dried. I got mine organically with Star West Botanicals, and I suggest getting organic. And anytime you're doing anything, get organic so that they're not sprayed with any kind of pesticides. And I'm doing that in each jar. And now we're going to move on to, that's going to be a beautiful, okay. Now this next one is the one that I'm talking about. Ginger root. Ginger root is sometimes has a tendency. I only use ginger root like if I used to use no, I'm talking about horseradish. Horseradish can sometimes mess with a person's like if it's a large amount, but I'm just not going to use it. It's not, number one, it's not easy for me to access because of where I live way out in the middle of nowhere. And then two, it could have the potentiality to mess with my stomach, and it could have the potentiality to mess with my immune system. The chances are slim, but knowing me, knowing the battle that I've had to go through, I'm not going to take any chances. So what you can do is you can replace it with a jalapeno pepper. And I had these, they're little bitty, they're on my little jalapeno bush out there, my little tree. And one is like green, one is, I mean, they're small. But I thought, you know what, it's not a big deal. I'm going to use the seeds and all. And I'm just going to cut them up real small. Not dice them or anything. I'm just going to use like a couple of cuts. And I know how to get that smell off me. And I'm just going to put a couple here and a couple there. And the same thing with the green ones. And I'm going to be done, you know. I'm not going to overpower this in any way. We're after the capsaicin, and I'm just going to put my trash in that bowl. And the next thing that you're going to put in here that I really love, and it's another really good one. I don't have any fresh thyme. My thyme is about 4 or 5 sprigs of thyme, if you have it. If not, you can use powdered or dry thyme, and it's requiring a half to a whole cup. So I'm gonna just again use my little measuring cup here and And thyme is another wonderful herb. And just go back over here. And again, I encourage everyone to go and use your organic herbs. And then this one is really good because astragalus, if you have astragalus, if you have it in the capsule form, please take it out of the capsule and put the capsules. I know it's time consuming, but I've done this before. I've used powdered astragalus out of the capsules. But these are little granular, and it is actually asking for, let's see, gosh, I just lost my place. I think it said half a cup. Yeah, so I'm gonna go in here, and I'm not gonna go, I'm just gonna use a half a cup. Yes. We're running out of room. And astragalus is one that if you have like a really bad, or not, I'm not gonna say like a really bad, but if you have like an immune system that you're working on, it will not boost your immune system, but it will increase the cell walls of your immune system and help build your immune system. Not boost it, but it will help your immune system, strengthen your immune system, and where your immune system will begin to build itself on its own. And what you're doing is you're trying to help your immune system strengthen and build itself, where it's not bombarded every day with stuff. And you want to strengthen that immune system to where that immune system is not being overloaded with the pressures of every day. And when you boost that immune system and stimulate it, your immune system can't handle that. And so you don't want to stimulate it, overstimulate it. I'm not taking any medication for it. I'm just building my immune system naturally and making it strong once again so that it can fight off all these foreign invaders, that come in and try to attack the immune system and make it weak. So when you use things that are like this, it builds the immune system on its own, makes it strong again, and takes out the toxins and builds it slowly over time. And so when you're doing that, astragalus along with the elderberries, well, you're just like, everything inside your body is getting in balance, and it's singing hallelujah, I'm getting strong again. I mean, you have a little army that God gave you inside your body, and really when it's able to fight for itself, it's like you have a little army inside there, and it is fighting for you all the time. Your red blood cells, your white blood cells, everything's fighting for you. And we just take it for granted. Our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and we are really supposed to be taking care of our body. And I'm gonna go off into this long spiel, and we're just making fire cider. But you'll have to excuse me. So we got we're gonna do cayenne pepper, and then we're gonna do molasses. And this is so nutritive. I mean, this is so we're talking about doing this and doing that, but it's really like this next step that we're about to take is now this too. You could do this is a half of a teaspoon, and I'm gonna do a half and a half, and that's all I'm gonna do, because this can be pretty overpowering with all the other spices that I have in here. And I could come back after I taste it, and I can add another half of a teaspoon of this cayenne pepper. But that's all the heat I'm gonna add, because this is 90 heat units of cayenne pepper, and that's about all I'm gonna do right now. The molasses is very nutritious. I remember as a kid, my grandmother, and that's what this says, grandma's molasses. This is very nutritious as well. And I'm just gonna do a regular spoon. This says 1, 2 tablespoons, and that's about a tablespoon. And this is very good for your blood. I know it's going to be very good for my blood. And that's nice and thick, very thick. And you may ask, Rexanna, why are you doing that? Well, this is rich in iron. It helps so much. I mean, like if you have a sore throat or something like that, I remember in the middle of the night, if you had a bloody nose, a sore throat, anything like that, you got a whole big old tablespoon of this at Granny's house, because she thoroughly believed in molasses, blackstrap molasses. And I could not find any blackstrap molasses. I guess I had to go on the website. I don't know that brand. I guess Granny would be the only one to tell you where to get it. They used to sell it at the grocery store, but they don't sell it at the grocery store. This is the only kind of molasses that I could find, and it's pretty black. But I remember that's what it was called. It was called blackstrap molasses. Of course, my grandparents are both passed away. And you can ask them questions when they passed away. But that is what you got. A whole mouthful of molasses. And you had to wait at least 30 minutes before you got any water. You couldn't get any water. I mean, and that stuff, well, yeah, that's molasses. I'm sorry, it don't taste good. Where's my water? I don't know. Molasses has a very unique flavor. And I don't think it tastes good. It did taste good back then, and it doesn't taste good now. But it's very good for you. It's very good for you. So next we're going to put in, honey. Cayenne pepper, honey, and then, whoo, yeah, I'm sorry, that was just not good. But I do like honey. And I gotta go see my honey man, because my honey man, and I'm just gonna eyeball this. I'm gonna get my hands clean, because give me just a minute. Okay. I know some people say that they love the taste of molasses. But for me, I'm not a big fan. I may have to come back and put some more honey. Honey has great antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial. I know it really helps with a lot. This honey is, I should have already had it out. And it's optional if you want to put cinnamon in here. I'm going to leave the cinnamon out. I have cinnamon in a lot of my recipes. But I think I don't want to have that taste in here. I have cinnamon in a lot of my recipes. Okay, now we're going to go through and I'm going to make sure I have everything in there. And we're going to shake up our vinegar. And then we're going to put our vinegar in there. want to leave just enough room to where you can shake this. And I'm going to add something here. You don't want to put a metal lid on vinegar. Vinegar is the worst to corrode your metal lids. So you want to make sure that you put a plastic lid on, or if you don't have any plastic lids, then the best thing to do is put some, if you don't have any parchment paper, just put a piece of plastic. I've used I've been without a lot of things, but I've had to use, and it took every bit of that. Well, let me tell you, I've had to use, I just get a wooden spoon and I stir it up. I may have to use just a tad bit more apple cider vinegar. I think I'm going to do that. I've had to use a plastic bag, just a quart size plastic bag, put it over there, and then put my lid on. Because, and I'm going to add just a little bit more apple cider vinegar. Because I keep some in my refrigerator. I use apple cider vinegar every day. Yep. This is pretty full. Now this is going to be really good. I'm going to stop this and give it just a second, and then I'll be right back after I get it ready. Okay, I'm back, and I think I have got everything finished. I just haven't labeled anything yet, and that's easily to be done. What I finally got yielded with the fire cider is 3-quart jars. And the reason that I got 3-quart jars is because if you'll look, it's pretty full. I took some herbs out of the 2 and made one smaller. These right here don't have as much, and there's more of a flow. The one is really compacted, and I took some out of it, but it's a beautiful color. It's going to be really pretty. Your elderberries are going to release more with the apple cider vinegar, and it's going to be more of a red color. The lemons that are in here, the onions, the little dab of, I'm not much for the heat, which you can go back. I'll go back here in about 3 or 4 days, and I'll take a little taste and see how much heat is in there. My cayenne pepper I get from, it's 90 heat units. I've talked about this before. I make all kinds of pain salves. I make all kinds of cooking oil. I do all kinds of stuff with this cayenne pepper. I mean, you could get a pretty high volume at your grocery store, but as long as it's organic, and I don't mind using that to cook with. But I prefer this over the other stuff that you can get at the grocery store because this is pretty hot. And I've grown some before in my own backyard, but I don't have any right now. So I don't ever see any around here at the grocery store. So anyway, that's why I don't really want it to be extremely hot, because I don't want to be choked, and I want to make it more pleasurable. And there's honey in here. I had to go back and squeeze some more honey in here while I wasn't on the camera. But the properties and the benefits that you're going to get from drinking this, whether you drink it 3 times a week, whether you drink a little shot glass every day, you can wait for this. Just set it on your counter and wait for this for about 4 weeks, and then strain off all your herbs, and you can compost the herbs because the herbs are going to be great. And then put it in your refrigerator, and like I said, I'm going to have 3 3 quarts. So one of these is going to go to my daughter-in-law. The kids probably won't drink it unless they put it in some water. But I know my son and my daughter-in-law will drink it, and I may even take some to some other people that if you want to drink it just a little shot glass every day, that's perfectly fine. And if you want to drink like when you get a cold, and you know, I'll put all that stuff down there in the description. And if you want further details, just contact me and I'll be glad to leave it, the information with you. But for right now, that's all. I just wanted to leave you with the finished product of Fire Cider and what it does for you, boosting your immune system. And I love it. You can always, like I said, make this to your liking, how your family likes it. Do a little this more or less, leave this out, add that. There's all kinds of ways. I've seen people put celery in it. I've seen people do all kinds of different things, add their own flair or take stuff out. But it is a wonderful recipe, a wonderful way to boost your immune system this time of year. The elderberry syrup is on my website. That's something that you can take every day to boost your immune system. Elderberries and Fire Cider is a wonderful thing that you can do to boost your immune system this time of year and to help you with your immune system in building your immune system, not just to boost your immune system. So that's all for now. Y'all have a great day, and I hope no cold or no flu knocks at your door, and I hope your family stays happy and healthy this season and every season thereafter. Okay, so y'all, just make sure you always read the stuff under more, you know, the tab, and please like and share my videos. That's the biggest help that you can do for me. Leave me a comment, let me know how your family's doing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. This is Garden of Herbs, Rexanna. Okay, bye-bye.